You know it, you love it, it's that time to do another retro review of Penny Dreadful Season 1, Episode 5, Closer Than Sisters, as dictated by the tarot card. Right off the top, this has got to be my favorite episode so far. All of the gothic stuff that you have ever in your life wanted in a Victorian horror Penny Dreadful style thing is here, front and center. But before I gush a little too much, let me just go ahead, do the tarot reading, and we'll stick to what the cards want us to talk about. All right, and we have the Queen of Pumpkins, the Lovers, and the Hierophant. I love this reading. I think it's going to be really exciting. This is another case where having the card inverted versus right side up makes a huge difference in how we read the card. Because traditionally, the Queen of Pumpkins is like the mother of all generosity, of abundance, of providing and doing well for you, your family, your loved ones. But in its inverted state, it takes on a totally different nefarious meaning of being enslaved to one's own generosity, of duties neglected, which I think is probably most key in our particular retelling of Penny Dreadful, and of those most suspicious and unreliable. Despite this being a feminine card, I think it's actually speaking first and foremost to Sir Malcolm, and in a lot of ways, he is the guy who kicks this whole thing off. Sir Malcolm is cheating on his wife with Vanessa Ives' mother, and she catches them at it in the hedge maze while she's a young child, which I think the story wants us to interpret that as Vanessa Ives witnessing this evil act, and that evil jumping to her and spreading and taking its fullest, most dangerous root in the heart of this young, otherwise innocent child. Because she writes to Mina that part of the issue with witnessing this is that she liked it. She took some kind of carnal pleasure in watching Sir Malcolm and her mom fornicate. And that kind of like evil pleasure and enjoyment blossomed into other petty things like theft or telling lies or keeping secrets, but it all culminates into the night before Mina's wedding, having an affair with her husband-to-be. And you know, to be fair, Mina probably shouldn't have married that guy either way, because I think he's coming out of having an affair with another lady before he meets Vanessa Ives on the stairs, and then ends up sleeping with Vanessa Ives too, which certainly would hurt more than just like a random hookup, but does indicate to me that Mina probably shouldn't marry this guy either way. It just so happens that this is what causes the schism between the two families. All comes back to Malcolm not fulfilling his duty to his wife. He is also not fulfilling that role as a father. He 100% ignores Peter, makes Peter work really hard for his approval, which drives him to want to be an explorer with his father, something that he definitely does not have the constitution for. Like it says, he's always been weak and fragile and sickly. Instead of encouraging Peter to find some kind of ability to explore or discover where he would still be physically safe, praising him for other attributes he has that might lead to a satisfying career for him, he kind of like ignores Peter, acts like he's disappointed by him. When Peter is like jockeying for his attention, you know, between him and the girls, he dotes on the girls so much, gives them hugs and kisses and gifts, offers Peter just the bare minimum of attention, like Peter and his wife. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's an expectation of masculinity that he's doing or what the deal is, but either way, it's leading Peter into this road that ends up with him dying a very graphic and tragic death in Africa. Rolling us into the Lovers card. This is great because it's like a temptation, choice, struggle kind of card. We can see Vanessa Ives starting from like witnessing Sir Malcolm's infidelity, struggling with this evil seed sort of planted and growing within her. And she could like choose to turn away from it. She could choose to be good, to reveal her mother's hair, perhaps like cleanse herself of her sin. And part of her, it seems like, is trying to do that, doing all this prayer and stuff. But the other part is listening to this voice that's talking inside her head that's getting stronger, coming into like full blossom within her. Leads first to her downfall, where she sleeps with Mina's husband the night before the wedding, and that's sort of like the ultimate betrayal of her best friend. It continues to grow and increase and intensify from there. She collapses, has these epileptic fits, seems to be choosing mental illness, choosing to let this possession take over and grow within her. Her choices continue. She suggests it's better that she is allowed to die than be cured. In some ways, that's signaling that she's giving up on herself, giving up on her own autonomy and freedom, letting this darkness override herself, giving into the temptation, realizing that she's sort of surrendered herself and trying to like find a way to protect the few people who are around her and left. When we get to the mental hospital and we see her go through all these torturous like psychological interventions, including brain surgery, it seems like she's still somehow able to pull herself out of that mental fog and into the state of the woman we know now. And what brings her back isn't the devil that continues to tempt her and continues to like lead her into making the wrong choice, doing the wrong thing, and leading to tragedy, but it's Mina who's been captured by this master vampire and is begging her for help. For Mina, she's choosing sanity, she's choosing righteousness, she's choosing to partner with Malcolm, who's been a derelict in his duty to his family, because he is the only person with power and strength left who might be able to assist her in this journey. And the two of them sort of choose to form a pact. They choose to put previous animosity aside for the sake of Mina to save her. All of which culminates in the Hierophant. And this is sort of like an interesting card to end the reading off on, because if we talk about it in relation to where this journey started off, like a dereliction of duty, a choosing to not obey societal norms and not pay attention to one's family, to one's sense of duty and what is owed to others, then we end ourselves here on the Hierophant. Traditionally, when he's right side up, he's about being bound in societal norms, he's about adhering to customs and to traditions and doing things the right way, the accepted way to get a certain predetermined set of outcomes. But upside down, as he appears in this reading, it's about balking those societal expectations, it's about disregarding those rituals, those traditional warnings, and doing your own thing in your own way. Freedom for your own kind of outcome and concerns. It's about sort of using the structure of society, seeing it and rejecting it in like a meaningful, notable way so that you can promote your own goals and desires. Which is very interesting to me because Vanessa Ives gets herself into this situation with the evil by witnessing this dereliction of duty, by letting the evil take hold of her, keeping it a secret, and then sort of letting it grow, bucking the traditional flow of society in favor of like supporting her own power, her own pride, sort of nurturing her own lust and stuff. She goes through a million different kinds of tortures as a result of that. And from all of that, when she is finally like up and running and cognizant again, it seems like she's gone beyond the bounds of what's expected for women and their place, their own specific journey, is now here specifically to do whatever is necessary to get Mina back, to save her. A really interesting and empowering moment where we see when she's like unbound from the Victorian subscription of what women should be. She's able to just move move forward doggedly, single-mindedly, in a fierce way that like commands the respect of Sir Malcolm and some of the other men around her. In particular, I think this Hierophant speaks very highly to the ending postscript of Mina's letter, where she talks about how much Mina's father truly loves her and will do anything to get her back alive. Vanessa's love is quite different, and she will do anything she needs to for Mina specifically, including kill her if she's too far gone. And that last line sent so many chills down my spine because it changes the entire journey they're going on in Penny Dreadful. And it's very Gothic too, the whole idea that death is better than the kind of life that would be ahead of you if you continued to exist. Also very vampiric to question what the cost of immortality is and whether or not it might be better if you had died, which actually rolls me into the totality of this reading as a whole. I kind of touched on it a little bit when talking about the Hierophant because the connection here between the Queen of Pumpkins and the Hierophant is just so perfectly clear. I think as like a narrative arc, this works so well for the episode that we just watched. I can't overstate it. It's also very Victorian centered and focused because Victorians were still coming out of this sense of duty, obligations, norms, expectations, like a whole ceremony and right way to kind of go about things. But they were in the process of like becoming more modern, becoming less structured and demanding, which is kind of like the lover's push-pull temptation. There is definitely safety in routine, in habit, in knowing the way things are supposed to be done and knowing certain outcomes will come from that. But also there is freedom in breaking through those societal norms and those chains, giving women more equality, seeing different racial groups all as equal, dealing with the fact that factory work is a thing that is happening and that we will have to change how we live as a result of it. This is all like kind of a simmering undercurrent in Victorian times, this harkening back to tradition, this force into modernity, and like the hopefulness that through choosing modernity, through throwing away these rules, through making the right choice between these two push-pulls, you will have positive outcomes, unexpected things you could not have gotten if you stuck specifically to tradition, or if you always were rule breaking. Like there's this choice implement in the middle here, which helps you sort of navigate it and sometimes lead to good ends when you're traditional, bad ends when you're not traditional, good ends when you're not traditional, and bad ends when you are traditional. So this sort of reading, this push-pull dynamic, I think is really epitomizing some of what we're witnessing and some of the inherent contradictions going on in this episode that is leading us to ask these kinds of meaningful questions. It's going to be boiling within us as we go forward in the season. So this is going to be my reading for episode 5, Closer Than Sisters. Talk to me in those comments down below. What did you think of this episode? What do you think of this reading for this episode? And as always, keep reading.